Hello, and welcome to the Identity Factor. My name is Dr. Robert Bays, and I'd like to share some very powerful information with you that I think will change the way you think about yourself and the way you think about other people. So, what is the Identity Factor? Well, it's a set of predictors of human behavior, or more accurately, a set of predictors about what drives human behavior. So, what would your life be like if I could convince you that in a very short amount of time you could learn some really powerful information that would give you the clue to really understanding just really basically 3 ways of behaving that have indicators and that will give you this very valuable information. And this is not something I made up. It is something I put together and gave it a title called the Identity Factor. But it really comes from very profound and deep spiritual and psychological knowledge that's quite ancient. So what I'd like to do is, I'd like to ask you, if you could look at somebody and just in a very few short minutes get an understanding of why it is that they do what they do, and also why you do what you do, would that be valuable to you? Well, it certainly was valuable to me, because especially in the sense of looking at myself, I'm much better able to understand why I do the kinds of things that I do, and that in itself is very valuable. But when you combine that with an understanding of why other people do what they do, then you can see where, like in a business context or perhaps in a marital context, it'd be very useful to you. So let's get started. Now, obviously, this is just an intro, but I want to give you at least the fundamental foundation of this understanding. Okay. So how does it all start, the Identity Factor? Well, it starts at about 9 to 10 months of age. So somewhere around 9 to 10 months, I guarantee that this happened. And by the way, if you have children and you remember when they were about 9 or 10 months old, or you look back, you can't remember it in your own life, obviously, but if you look back, there will be a time when you saw that your children, there was one day when all of a sudden you were aware that they knew that they were separate from you. So on this one day, it's like, oops, my child now knows that it has its own identity, which is separate from mine. This is the parent speaking. And it's kind of a wonderful day, because there's that sense of personal identity from the child, and you have the sense that he or she is growing up. But it's also a very scary day, because it's the day that the child really understands that it's separate from you, and has a sense that it calls itself by its name and has really identified its body as I.